Hello friends, this is Artur Pawlowski. I hope that you had an amazing Christ Mass that was focused on God and what He came to do, that was focused on your family. I hope that you had a great time with your family. I mean, that's what the whole thing is supposed to be all about, remembering what God did for us, that He actually came as a man and decided to dwell among us. God, Emmanuel, God with us. He came to restore a relationship that we lost because of our ancestors with God Himself. And that's what our family was focusing on: Jesus, the birth of our Savior. And of course, we know that He was not born on the 25th of December, but long time ago, our ancestors decided that this is the time when we're going to celebrate His coming, and we did just that. And remember, the enemy hates this time of this season, this Christ season, this remembrance that He came and eventually died and rose from the grave. And that's why you see this ongoing war against Christmas. That's why you see the federal government doing everything in their power to remove Christ from this season. That's why when you go to the stores, you're being forced by others that are saying to you, happy holidays or happy season, all kinds of nonsense, trying to persuade you that this time has nothing to do with Christ. So I hope that you did the opposite. Everywhere you go, you said Christ Mass, happy Christmas, happy Christ Mass. The time that was supposed to be focused on Jesus somehow becomes the time where people are focusing on themselves. Anyway, I hope you had a great time with Jesus and your family as well. I hope that you had lots of good meat on your tables, because that's another thing that they hate. They hate when people eat healthy, nutritious food. I've seen on Facebook posts pushed by the government telling us that eating turkey is unacceptable right now, that we should not be doing that, that we should not be eating meat, we should turn into something else. And I think what they are meaning is that we would replace the healthy stuff with crickets. This is the newest thing that they're pushing left and right. I hope you're seeing it. Of course, being an immigrant, coming from a totalitarian regime, growing up behind the Iron Curtain under the boots of the Soviets, immediately when this government started to push their tyranny on the rest of us, we could pick it up. I could pick it up right away. We know that the same devices that were used yesterday are being used today. And I started to be very vocal about what's coming. Unfortunately, many people decided to go back to sleep, or some decided to put their heads like the ostrich into the sand, buried their head into the sand. I just want you to focus here for a second. If you're an ostrich and you put your head inside that hole that you dug for yourself, or maybe others did it for you, what is sticking out is your bum. That's right. What's sticking out is your bum, and you're going to get kicked. It's just a matter of time. If you are not willing to stand up with your head high today, and if you are like that ostrich that puts the head in the sand, your bum is vulnerable, is sticking out, and you're going to get the kick of your lifetime. So don't do it. Join us, stand up, push their agenda against them, and I'm telling you, you're going to win, because we are on the winning side. Truth wins every time. And I've said it thousands of times, the truth is like a pillar that stands on its own. It's the lie that needs to be supported with misinformation, disinformation. That's why there is censorship, deplatforming, cancel culture, because those liars, those pathological liars that we have in the mainstream media propaganda with the politicians left and right, all levels of politicians, from aldermen, the mayors, the MLAs, and then the members of parliament or the Senate. I mean, those are evil, wicked people, pathological liars, and they're not stopping. If you think for whatever crazy reason that this agenda is done with, that now they're going to let you live your life in peace, well, sorry, you're delusional. What I know about evil, evil never stops. Evil will keep pushing until good rises up and starts roaring. So the question is this: are you good, or are you part of the evil agenda? Because those that are refusing to stand up and do something, unfortunately, are part of the regime. Growing up in Poland under the boots of the Soviets, I've seen that before. I've seen incentives being given to the people if they would comply, if they would be part of the regime, and some went along. When you remember, during the Nazi era, there were many churches, actually majority of the churches that were flying the Nazi flag just to be left alone. And they would justify that by saying, hey, I'm not really part of the Nazi party. I don't agree with what they're doing. After all, they are saying that the Jewish people are like virus, should be eliminated. The disabled people should be murdered, and of course they're murdering babies, and they want to destroy the homosexuals and the gypsies, and they want to invade Europe and destroy the whole world. We don't agree with that, but hey, we want to be left alone. We want to be living our lives in peace, and we know how that story ended, and it ends the same way every single time. If you think that they're going to let you go back to your merry life, if you really think that they're going to just let you be about your own business, you just do not know history. And this is my problem with so many people. People just do not know history. They think that for whatever reason, the evil agenda is going to stop just on its own, and those villains will go back to their holes. They will crawl like cockroaches back to their holes, and they're just going to leave you alone. While history, not Artur Pawlowski, but history is teaching us that the villains will keep pillaging, raping, and destroying. They will keep murdering and pushing the jobs left and right until you're subdued. That's what the whole thing is all about. It's about subduing the resistance. And again, I've seen it in Poland, in my country. I remember the rhetorics were very similar. I remember when the Nazis would be referring to the Polish soldiers as bandits. Can you imagine Polish patriots rising up against the Nazi invaders, evil, wicked German people that came to rape, pillage, and steal, and they would be referred as bandits. The bandits did that. During the communist era, the communists were calling Polish patriots and anyone that dared to disagree with their agenda as lawbreakers, troublemakers. And now, today, we're seeing the same thing, of course, with the wicked, evil government that we have in this country. And I'm talking all of them are wicked, evil, starting with the liberals and ending with the so-called conservatives. I mean, seriously, where were they when we were bleeding to death, when we were marching and being arrested and thrown in solitary confinements in metal cages like dogs? Where were they? Where were the conservatives? Oh, wait a second. It was them that did this to us in the first place. It was the conservative government that put me in solitary confinement, charged me with some insane terrorism charges because I dared to say to the truck convoy, rise up, stand up for your children. Well, that's unacceptable for any tyrant. It was the conservative government that locked the pastors in prison. It was the conservative government that destroyed our Alberta's economy. It was the conservative ministers that partied at the Sky Palace, including Tyler Shandro and Nixon and Travis Taves and Copping, and of course that evil, wicked man Kenny, the traitor of Canada. All of those people had a great time sipping whiskey, while at the same time their agents of evil were arresting us and destroying our businesses. And behold, they're back in power. Behold, they're still in the ministerial positions. They're still right there at the heart of our government. Nothing changed. Oh, yeah, sorry. One thing has changed. Now they're all for freedom. But wait a second. They talk the talk. They talk nice. They're all for freedom. So why am I still on house arrest? Why am I still being charged, facing 10.5 years of imprisonment if this government changed? Why the 4 boys are still in prison for bogus charges? Why the 3 men, including a counselor from Fort MacLeod, are still charged with mischief over 5,000, facing potentially 10 years of imprisonment? And excuse me, for what? For daring to protest the government intrusion, the government tyranny? Oh yeah, that's it. That's it. It's just a talk. Because the same people that did this to us in the first place are still in power. Of course, they want to stay in power because the election is in May. So we got 5 months, and they're doing everything to persuade you that they are now the good guys. It's like electing Goebbels and, Goerings, all those Nazi main characters. Well, so Hitler is dead. Kenny is eliminated. He's still in the background. But let's say Hitler is dead. We're going to be good boys now, okay? We changed our talk, and we're going to be good boys. We're going to be good to you right now. We destroyed you for the past 2 years, but now we want to be elected again, so we're going to be good, okay? There is absolutely no change in our behavior. People are still being harassed and intimidated. I've heard of 2 more arrests right in the province of Alberta of 2 people that refused to wear a muzzle because they are not dogs, and they were arrested by the most corrupted police force in Canada, the RCMP. And this is all done under the watchful eye of the freedom people, the conservative government, making sure that you're free and you can prosper. I sometimes run out of words because I don't know how to wake you up. I'm doing my best. I went to prison for you 5 times during the lockdowns. I faced over 40 tickets, multiple big trials. I have harassment. I had health inspectors straight from China coming, intimidating, harassing. I dealt with the Gestapo, the political police of the conservative government. I've dealt with detectives, RCMP officers. I've dealt with undercover SWAT team, and of course the corrupted politicians and the mainstream propaganda like Global Television, CTTV, Calgary Herald, Calgary Sun, National Post, you name it. I've dealt with them, did my best to warn you that this is not going to end until you change. You see, we want the government to change, but they're not willing to change. They're all the same. They're villains. They have agenda. Net zero in just few years, wiping out your industry completely, turning you into slaves. You will own nothing. You will be eating crickets, and you will be riding on a bicycle. All of those stupid electric cars that will be prohibited when there's not enough energy, just like they did in California. Are you paying attention? I hope you do, people, because it's your life. In the end, it's your life. And if you don't care about your life, well, please care about the life of your children. It's their life we're talking about, their future, their country that is being completely wiped out. Completely wiped out. You know, people say to me, why as a pastor, why can't I focus on preaching the gospel? Well, let me ask you this question. What is the gospel? Obviously, you have no idea what is the gospel, because otherwise you would not be attacking me for being involved in any realm or any mountain of influence, if you will. You would understand that the gospel, it's good news. That's what it means. It's good news. And the Bible says that the government will be upon his shoulders, on the shoulders of Jesus Christ, God himself. And that authority has been given to you and me. In other words, God is saying, I am the righteousness, I am the holiness, I am the truth, and now I want you to forward that righteousness, that holiness, and that truth on every sphere of influence, if you will. We are to be the influencers of those that have influence, if you understand what I'm saying. We are to be the light in the darkness. If the light withdraw itself, what remains is darkness. So if you're telling me that the good man should not be involved in political arena or educational system or, you know, mainstream media, entertainment, or you name it, banking, finances, well, you have not read the Bible. Sorry. That's just the truth. You have been brainwashed by your nice preachers of propaganda, telling you that a good Christian man or good Christian woman should not get involved in that filth. And you know why it's filthy? Because you, good people, are refusing to be involved and clean the swamp. So if your toilet blows up and it stinks like crazy, what do? Well, sorry, I don't want to be involved. It's too filthy. I'm too holy. Let's just preach the good news. Let's just preach the gospel to the toilet. Let's just tell the toilet, come on, be good, don't stink, don't break. Is that what would you do? Or would you call a plumber? And you'll say, hey, plumber, I got a situation here. It's a stinky one. And I need you to come and fix the problem, right? Well, we have a stinking government. We got a sewer problem in a political arena. We have a sewer problem in educational, because educational system is not teaching, is indoctrinating. We have a sewer problem in the mainstream media. We have a sewer problem in the banking system. We have a sewer problem everywhere we look right now. Are you going to preach the good news to the sewer and you think somehow it's going to be fixed? Or you put your hands to the task, you take the plunger and you say, I need to fix this problem because I know how to do it. We as Christians, we know how to fix the problem. We know it because God is in us. The greater is he that is in me than the one that is in them. And when I show up with that plunger of truth, well, we're going to have our plumbing system again. That's what the whole thing is all about. When you withdraw yourself and you are not willing to tell the truth and fix the problem, it's like feeding the poor. You can preach the good news to them until Jesus comes back. But they're hungry. That's what I realized all those years ago. We just went over there to preach the good news, and then I learned there is a problem. There is not just a problem that those people need good news. There is a problem. They're hungry because the government is so corrupted, it's not even feeding them. So we started to feed them and give them the truth at the same time. You see, words and action. Don't tell me you're a Christian when you refuse to address the problem and fix the plumbing. Don't tell me you're a Christian when you see a dying child and you refuse to give him a bread. Don't tell me you are a Christian if you're not willing to get your hands dirty, to do what's right, to stand up for truth, for God and for the country. Don't tell me you're a Christian if you will just say to the problem, good news, and be merry, go in peace, while that person is dying of starvation. You see, words are not good enough. Show me your words and I will show you my words with deeds, James writes. It's so pathetic. I mean, unbelievable. So pathetic coming from the so-called Christians. And I get bombarded by this from time to time. Oh, just tell them about Jesus. Okay, I did. And now it's time to fix the plumbing. Now it's time to take the plunger and restore sanity back to my country. Who is going to do it? Who is going to do it? The same people that did this to us in the first place? Who is going to tell the people the truth, the good news, the mainstream propaganda? Seriously, they're going to tell the people what's really going on? Who is going to save the nation? The doctors that are murdering people, the nurses that are part of the problem? Who is going to do it? The liberal government that works for the globalists? Schwab's and Gates and all those devils? Who is going to fix the problem? The UCP government that betrayed the people for the past few years and is still betraying people? Oh, yeah, but they talk nice now. Or Pastor Artur Pawlowski, she's our savior. Don't you know that this woman is going to fix the problem? She talks the talk. She's a savior of Alberta. The UCP government has changed of heart. And yeah, they partied and they arrested us before and they destroyed our economy. But now they're going to fix the problem that they created in the first place. Oh, Pastor Artur Pawlowski, you don't understand. If we don't vote for the lesser of two evils, well, the Notley will get in. And now we will have a problem. Haven't we been doing this for, forever? Always voting for the lesser of two evils? Always choosing evil over good because we're afraid of the bigger evil? Is that not what makes us evil as well? I mean, if we're voting for the people that hate children, you see, I'm pro-life. I'm not ashamed to be pro-life. I am pro-life. I love children. I stand for the rights of all Canadians, not just toddlers, not just teenagers, not just adults or elderly or disabled. All citizens have a right to live. But here you've got a government that hates children, murders them on a regular instances, like every day. And that's a good government, right? Oh, you don't understand. People have choice. Yeah, but government doesn't have to pay for it. The government should lead by example. The government should lead by example. We should be the righteous government. We should tell the people what's right and what's wrong. And if they choose still to do evil, well, God has given us freedom to choose. We can choose to do wicked things. We can choose to do good things. That's up to us. Consequences eventually will come. But the government should be righteous. The government should stand for every man and every woman, not just for the selected one. And then let me not go into the perversion left and right being shoved through our throats. And if you disagree with perversion, if you're not part of the perversion, oh my God, then you're a hater. If you don't agree with certain groups of people, then you're a xenophobe. You're a homophobe. You're a white terrorist, white supremacist. You're a Hitler. I've heard it all. Anyway, I decided to do this live before the year ends because I want to tell you about the question that I received, the most asked question in 2022. Are you ready to hear that question? I have been contacted, of course, by tens of thousands of people. I get so many emails and texts, and phone calls. It's unbelievable. And people are asking a very simple question over and over. The same question I was asked thousands, if not tens of thousands of times. What can we do? Or how can I help? What can I do to stand up and fight for my country, for my land? So here's a few things I wanna say to you. What you can do. Well, if you wanna fix the problem, you have to start fixing the problem. If you have a plumbing issues, you can pray until Jesus comes back. You can wish that the plumbing would be fixed. You can, you can call all your friends and you can tell them about your plumbing problem. But until you're willing to take the plunger and unplug that filth, nothing is going to happen. And if you do not know how to do that, you got to call the plumber. And the plumber will show up and he's going to do his job. He's going to fix your problem. But the problem needs to be fixed. If you don't fix the problem, you're going to die of disease. And here our beloved province of Alberta is literally dying of the disease of the plumbing problem. The corruption that we have never seen, at least on a scale that we have seen in the past few years. Unbelievable. Unbelievable corruption coming from all levels of government, zero checks and balances, and zero accountability. So how can you help? Well, you can help by joining this new party, the Alberta Independence Party. Right here, you can join this party and you can start making a difference. You can start having part in the future. Spread the word around. Let the people know. Go to abindependence.ca, abindependence.ca. If you want to have a prosperous country, freedom, opportunity, fiscal responsibility, transparency, accountability, checks and balances, our own police force. We need to elect judges. We can no longer allow them to be appointed by politicians, because when you do that, then they do not work for you anymore. They work for those that appointed them. And the same with the chief of police. They're no longer working for you because they're being appointed by the mayor. So obviously that's their boss. It's not you anymore, even though you pay their salary. It's the politicians. So the politicians are holding the strings and they're telling the chief, hey, we appointed you, now we can take you out. So you better obey us. We are the new pharaohs. You don't work for the slaves, the citizens, you work for us, for the elites. That's why we saw what we saw in the past few years when the chief of police broke the law, broke our constitution, broke our charter rights and freedoms, broke international human rights, local human rights, Alberta human rights, Canadian human rights. You name it. I've seen police beating people up, arresting them for no reason. I saw injunctions being brought by corrupted judges, preventing people from protesting. Insane stuff. You could be arrested for even a thought or being in the wrong place. I've seen people being arrested for holding Canadian flag, believe it or not. That was not allowed. Honking was not allowed. Why do you think that happened? Because the judges were elected. Not elected, they were appointed. But they need to be elected. Also, what we need is a local sheriffs. People that are elected by the community. And they have that jurisdiction to make sure that the law of the country is respected. Because right now, like I said, you've got chief of police that are appointed by the politicians, crooked, evil politicians that work for the globalist agenda, which means they're working against you, breaking the law. And there is absolutely nothing at this moment you can do about it. Nothing. You go to a court, well, the judges are appointed by the same politicians, so what you going to do? And we've seen that in the past few years, over and over again. So you have to stop for a second and think, okay, I kept electing. I settled for the lesser of two evils, but it's still evil that is destroying us. Think about it. We have been settling for the lesser of two evils. And I hear this left and right. You're going to split the votes and the NDP will get in. Well, people, what is the difference? It was the UCP that did this to us. It's the UCP that is still forwarding their agenda. It is the UCP that wants me in prison. My trial is a month from now. The terrorist charges for me doing a church service for the truckers is still going. The person that said that is going to set us free, the savior, the new savior of Alberta, she didn't do anything. She promised she's going to meet with pastors. There was no meeting. She promised there is going to be recompensation. No recompensation. Charges still pending. So what's going on? What's really going on? Well, they are the same people, career politicians working for the globalists. They do not work for you, even though they talk the talk. And even though they will do some good maneuvers, some good things to fool you, because this is the game. The game is bad cop and bad cop, trying to portray himself as the good cop. But they're all bad. Net zero, like I mentioned, in bed with World Economic Forum, Agenda 2030, all the same people. Trained for such a time as this to wipe you out, to destroy you and your children and the future of your grandkids. And if you're okay with that, I get it. Okay, fine, then go and die if that's what you want. But if you're not okay with this, then join us. Join the movement. You got to remember, we were called names, French minority, but that's how it starts. Solidarity movement, they were calling us bandits. We were the bandits, we were the lawbreakers. And yet, a few years later, we got the government. If it was possible then, it's possible now. Do not settle for the lesser of two evils. Do not settle for a scorpion just to replace a viper. They're all deadly. Some are less poisonous, but they will kill you eventually. Do not do that, please. Good people do not vote for evil people. Just don't do it. Why would you vote for someone that stands for abortion? Why would you vote for someone that marches with homosexual perversion naked on the streets of our cities? Like, why? Why they have to march naked in front of our children? Like, what's the point? What this has to do with freedom or equality? We don't march with our wives naked in front of our children. I don't get it unless they have an agenda. I don't want to talk about that agenda at this moment. But why would you vote for a person like that? Or because she is going to give you a few extra dollars? So you are willing to sell your soul and your moral standards and your faith for a few bucks? If that's you, you have fallen very low. Very low. Another thing that people have been asking, how can we help to keep us strong? Well, we cannot fight for you if we're not strong ourselves. If we're struggling, if we are barely making out the next week or next month, well, we cannot help you. And this fight requires a lot of support, especially the next few months will require enormous support. So here's how you can help us. Go to streetchurch.ca, street like a road, streetchurch.ca. And there is a way you can support us. You can e-transfer, ART at streetchurch.ca. You can e-transfer. You can also send us a check. All the informations are on the website. I'm going to put in a comment section as well all the information, and support us. I mean, Tomorrow is the last day of the year, and 2023 kicks in, and we have only a few months. We need to have our own building. So we're raising funds, not to go vacationing like those corrupted, evil, wicked politicians right now. We're raising funds to have our private school so we can teach children, not indoctrinate children. I want the children to learn about history, because you can prevent cataclysm and wars if you know history. I want them to be taught mathematics for a change, not indoctrination. I want them to learn geography, biology, not this craziness that you can have 2 cows and a very successful farm, while 2 cows will not make a calf. You need a bull, by the way, if you didn't know, well, I'm telling you. So our children has been subjected to this indoctrination for a very long time. So we need to take them out of the public school, and we have to start having our private schools, homeschooling, if you will. And I want to hire those teachers that were kicked out or discriminated, and I want to hire them to teach the youngsters in the city of Calgary at least. And let's start here. Of course, we need to have a forum. We are being deplatformed, and the cancel culture is happening left and right. I don't know if you have seen the news, but they're doing everything in their power to prevent me from speaking in the public forums because they're terrified. You see, liars are always terrified of the truth speakers. Has been always that way. The liars are shaken when a man shows up that has the truth. So what they want to do is, instead, they want to cancel us. So we need to have our own facility, a facility that we can rent to others, to people that have a message, but they cannot deliver that message because the left Nazis or communists or socialists like we have right now, like NDP or UCP or others that are preventing us from speaking, would have a platform, which is desperately needed in any democracy. In any place that values freedom, you should be allowed to have a different opinion on the subject. And I welcome any debate. You want to debate me? Come, I'll debate you. I don't care if you disagree with me. That's fine. You're human. From time to time, we will disagree with each other. I disagree with my wife on certain topics, or my children, my parents, my brother. I disagree with some of the people in the church on certain things. That's okay. That's fine. Iron sharpens iron. It's okay to agree to disagree. I am not afraid of a debate. You want to debate me? We can debate. I debated imams in the University of Calgary, atheists. I debated abortionists. I have no problem. I can debate communist socialists. I can debate the Nazis or the UCP traitors. No problem. Bring your facts. Let me bring my truth. And then we can have a debate. But they're not interested in that. They're terrified of the truth. That's why during the elections, you see that the mainstream propaganda is only allowing certain people to be visible. Because you see, they have an agenda. They do not allow all of the candidates to come to the debates. They only select those that they want. And the other ones are not even allowed to be exposed. And I think that's exactly what is going to happen in the May election. The machinery of the mainstream propaganda is going to kick in, and you will only hear about, oh, this fight is between Danielle Smith and Notley, Rachel, that communist, evil, wicked witch, the destroyer of economy, the destroyer of Alberta. And they will say there is no one else. There is nothing. It's only between those two. But that's a lie. To start with, that's a fat, big lie. Because right now, Alberta has a new party. And it's not Alberta Party, which is a liberal party, by the way. If you didn't know, the Liberals are now hiding under the name Alberta Party because they know they have no chance in this province, the Liberals devils, but they're all the same, hiding under the shield of Alberta Party. So you've got the Liberal devils, you've got the NDP communist socialist psychopaths, and you've got the traitors. And they will tell you then you have no other option. But that's not true. That's not true. That tells you that they have an agenda. And that tells you that we are on the right side of history when the mainstream propaganda is not even willing to give you the platform that is given to others. Then you know you're on the right side. When the wicked evil are not willing to promote you, you know you're doing the right thing. Alberta Independence Party.com. That's your option. And it's your option. It's a valid option. The party is growing like crazy. We have thousands of members. Go to abindependence.ca, albertaindependence.ca, right here, albertaindependence.ca, and discover, like the poster says, your independence. Here is what we are proposing. The solution is independence, our own Alberta pension, and EI. Why? Well, because we're being robbed. And soon people will realize that there is no pension left or EI. You're going to be left dry because these evil psychopaths do not care about your money. And the NDP is a perfect example. What a disaster that was when we had Notley, that crazy woman, that socialist, communist woman in power. What a disaster. No more of Ottawa's federal taxes. Why should we pay them? Ontario is the richest province in the land. You know that? Well, of course it is, because they're robbing us, raping us left and right. We want to elect judges and sheriffs, constitutional sheriffs that will be watching, making sure that the law is upheld, and the judges that actually work for the people, not for the politicians. We want parental rights restored. It's your children. It's not Trudeau's children. It's not Smith's or Notley's children. Those are your children. You are responsible for your children. We need to restore parental rights. And of course, educational reform. We need to restore educational reform to its normal place, because it's insanity at the highest level. And then we need to negotiate our own pipelines. If the British Columbia doesn't want to do business with us and make billions of dollars, fine. Let's start working with Montana and build a pipeline to Montana, to our neighbors. Let's prosper. Let's become Saudi Arabia of North America. We got more oil than Saudi Arabia. We got our resources. Let's sell them. Let's be prosperous. I want also give incentives to Albertans. You should have something from your own resources. Why the government is taking everything from us? It's their land? No, it's our land. God gave us this land. It was not Trudeau that gave us this land. He's stealing it from us, but he didn't give it to us. It's not the UCP government that gave us this land. It was God's land, and it's still God's land in the end of the day. And of course, freedom. We need to deal with all this craziness, digital ID, which is only designed to control you and enslave you, like in China. If you're not seeing it, then you're hopeless. If by now you're not seeing what's going on, that this is China right now, we are being enslaved in front of our eyes, then sorry, I don't know how to slap you out of your slumber. And then, of course, I am a huge advocate for guns. Gun ownership laws restored. I am a huge advocate for a castle defense, if you will, where a person has the right to defend his loved ones and his property. When a villain comes to your home, he comes with intent. He comes to harm you, maybe rape your wife. He comes to rape your children. He comes to steal or destroy, or you don't know. The moment he enters your property, he comes with an intent to either murder you or to hurt you. You should have the right to repel them, especially rural Alberta. I can't imagine living in a rural Alberta and you have a villain trying to hurt you and your loved ones or your livestock, and you're calling the corrupted RCMP and it takes them an hour to come to the rescue. Your wife is already dead or raped. Your child is hurt. Your property is stolen. And then what? There is nothing really we can do about it. Go to the insurance. You know, I've heard that before. When they tried to murder me, they put my house on fire and they unscrewed my tires and they did all kinds of stuff. The police would say, well, what do you want us to do? There's nothing we can do. That's the answer. There's nothing we can do. I don't want those people. I don't want them to be around. Obviously, they don't know how to do their job. They should maybe be clerks at Walmart. Then it will be very simple for them. They will know what to do, but not law enforcement officers. So we need to have sheriffs. We need to have real people that will actually care about community. And we need a deterrent. A gun is a beautiful deterrent. That's why you've got those states in the United States that have concealed carry or open carry, and the villains know that grandma can have a gun. What a beautiful, amazing situation when you never know when you're a villain who is going to defend himself or herself. That's a great deterrent. How come New York City, Chicago are the most dangerous places? They have the most strictest gun laws in the United States, and yet the most violent cities with guns. Well, because the gangsters don't care about your law. The bandits do not care about your law. This was always aimed at the law-abiding citizens, just like the Trudeau Castro tyrant is doing right now. He's trying to disarm the public, good people, law-abiding citizens. That's what he's trying to do. Not gangsters and bandits, because they are gangsters and bandits. They're part of the same team. They work for the same master, the same devil. They work together. They have the same goals and the same focus. They want to destroy good people. This is a war between good versus evil. That's what it is. So again, the most asked question of 2022, how can I help? How can we help? So let me say it again. Go to streetchurch.ca if you can. Chip in. We need to have our own facility, and maybe 2023, I'm going to start pushing this even more. We need to have a facility big enough that we can do homeschooling for the children. We need to have a facility that we can organize conferences for those that are deplatformed or censored. And we're going to have it maybe once a week or twice a month, speakers that are not allowed to share the truth because of the liars that are controlling, the gatekeepers. So we need a facility for that. And of course, a facility like this, it's millions of dollars. Those properties are not cheap. So help us so we can keep fighting for you. Of course, as you know, we're feeding thousands of homeless people on the streets of Calgary as well. Well, become part of this. Chip in, art@streetchurch.ca, art@streetchurch.ca. If you want to send a check, send it to us. The information is www.streetchurch.ca as well. And if you know someone that has a facility that would be willing to make some kind of a deal with us, that would be awesome. I know there is a school for sale in the city of Calgary, a beautiful, amazing facility, but it's $4.5 million. I mean, it's out of our reach unless someone comes in. It is what it is. We can keep plowing the land and keep putting seeds. So that's what I'm doing right now, because I have been asked many times what I can do Well, here is how you can help. If you cannot be part physically of this fight at this moment, chip in. We appreciate every dollar that comes in. And sign up for the party. It's what? $20 for 3 years? That's $7.5 less than $7.5 per year, and you can be part of the movement. You can be in solidarity with us and keep plowing and grow the party, spread the word around. abindependence.ca, abindependence.ca, the Alberta Independence Party, a party that wants to work for you, a party that wants to defend you, the party that wants to have sheriffs that will watch the politicians, judges that will work for the people, teachers that will teach, not indoctrinate. Is that not what you want? I hope you want freedom for your children and your grandchildren. If you don't, well, go to Danielle Smith, go to Notley, go to Alberta Party. If that's what you want, fine. But please do not complain later, because I know how the story ends. People say, well, we got to vote for the lesser of two evils because those crazy NDPers are going to finish us off, and it will be the same revolving door over and over again. I remember I warned you about Jason Kenney. I warned you. I even wrote a piece about Kenney before he was elected many years ago. It's still on the internet if you're interested. It's called The Painted Fox. The Painted Fox. Do not vote for Jason Kenney, the Painted Fox. Pretendee. I've told you about him, and I was right about him. The traitor of Alberta. And I'm right about the UCP, and I'm right about the NDP and Alberta Party. I know, because God shows me things. I've seen what those people are capable of. Personally, they're not good people. So be blessed. Be blessed. I hope you're going to have a great and amazing 2023. I hope that you're going to do the right thing. Good people do not align themselves with evil people. They just don't. Good people preach the truth to evil people. Good people challenge evil people. Good people shine and bring that light into the darkness. Good people do not settle for the lesser of two evils. Good people are not terrified of the bigger evil. Good people understand that in order to deal with evil, you have to vote for good, not for evil. Even if it's a tiny evil, a smaller evil. I hope you're getting the message. I hope you're going to chip in and help. I mean, imagine what we could do with the facility. We can do Rebel News. I mean, I love the Rebel Live that we just had in Toronto and in Calgary. It was such a vibe. So many amazing people. You felt like I'm not alone. There's more of us than they want us to know, the villains. For the past few years, they did everything in their power to segregate and separate us. They isolated people because they are predators. Predators always do the same thing. They look for the vulnerable, the weak, the hurting. They isolate, separate, segregate, and then they attack. That's exactly what happened to us during this craziness. We need to come together. We need forums that we can do things together. And for that, we need a facility. And I don't know what else to do than just ask. Ask. The Bible says, ask and shall be given to you. So I'm asking. I'm asking, please help if you can. And if you can't, spread the word around. You can do that. Use your media outlets and spread the word around and let the people know we're looking for something like this. And it's going to be great. I know that 2023 is going to be an incredible year. I'm excited. I hope you are getting excited as well. I'll be touring around Alberta for the next 5 months, and I hope to see you somewhere there. And be blessed. Stay strong. Remember that we cannot win this without God. God has to be at the center of this movement. And I hope it is. We had 2 pastors before in the province of Alberta. I can become the 3rd pastor premier of this beautiful province of ours. But I cannot do this alone. Our amazing group of people cannot do this alone. We need to do this together. After all, this is your country as well. This is your land. Alberta belongs to all of us, not just the elites, but to all of us. So be blessed. Hope to see you soon. Stay safe. Stay loving. Do not give up. And remember, lions do not bow before the hyenas. We are lions. We eat them for breakfast. So be blessed. Hope to see you soon.